Man, my man ran through that like an infomercial. So, I mean, we talked about the Orlando Magic, and we kind of briefly touched on the Knicks just a little bit about another team that could potentially be on a run, or they had a decline after doing a podcast. It's real funny that after players do a podcast, things don't really go the way they need it, right? Shout out to Micah and Doc. But we got to talk about the New York Knicks ceiling. This is one of those teams that everybody had high hopes on last season. Well, not a lot of high hopes, but some high hopes after they got Jalen Brunson. But then it also sparked a whole debate on R2L about Julius Randle. They got that serious with the Knicks, and the next thing you know, Julius Randle goes to the playoffs and did what? Flopped, choked, flopped, got smoked. All the lingo that you can use, it didn't help right after the debate. It's like, come on, man, we build you up, and then you just let us down. Kind of like a New York. Never mind. After losing to the Heat, Hart tackling people. That's what I'm going to talk about. Hart. My man Carl beat me to it because I was going to talk about it. Hart out there. The Knicks is just tackling. They playing football. They playing better football than the Giants. They found a way to beat the Pistons last night. Monty Williams going off. I know he's going to get that FedEx letter saying this was the worst call in NBA history. And it was like 3 or 4 missed calls that they made, but still gave the ball to the Knicks. Again, we got to talk about the ceiling or the basement. And for me, the ceiling with this Knicks team, because they are getting healthy. Like they are falling, but it's one of those things where they got to build the chemistry back up. So once they fully get healthy, I can see this team possibly making the conference finals. You know, the 4th in the East right now. Like you said, the East is tight, but maybe I'm having one of those moments like I did last year where I was like, they could beat the Heat, and then they go out there and just lose to the Heat again. But looking at it right now, with some of the pieces that they got, the chemistry gets there, they can make the conference finals. The basement, semifinals.
Dave? Go ahead. Sorry.
No, I was gonna say Joe, but you
me?
just talked. So go ahead, Dave. Nah, you just gave us the infomercial, so go ahead, Dave.
Okay.
Yeah, we are in agreement. I do think that their ceiling is conference finals, simply because of the way that Jalen Brunson has been playing this season. He's been playing out of his mind, and in a few games this season. And even though Julius Randle was hurt, this Knicks team still has played well, other than the last 6 games where they've been 1-5 since they started their new podcast. So I think maybe they need to relax on the podcast and not be Michael Parsons and just, relax on the podcast and just go ahead and play basketball. But hey, I mean, it's their choice. Maybe they get out of this funk and be able to make a run. But I do think that having OG, Anunoby now with the team, and then having Bojan, then they got the what's the other guy they got in the trade with the Pistons who played with them before.
He has scored too. Burks.
Yeah. So I think they got all the pieces that they needed to be able to make a run. All they need now is for Julius Randle to get healthy and for them to actually start winning because of this podcast and stop losing. So, but I definitely think that they do, because Jalen Brunson is one of the most underrated point guards in the league, and he has Alec Burke, but he has an opportunity to do something that the Knicks haven't seen in a while, and that's make a run in the playoffs. This Knicks team hasn't been good since Carmelo Anthony left, and we know that was a while ago. So so they got an opportunity to do something that hasn't been done for a while. Now, basement is second round exit. I still think they'd be able to at least get out of the first round. But it also depends on who they play.
True.
But I think they'll be able to get out of the second round at least.
They were good last year.
They were, but what I'm saying is, well, yeah, you're right.
But like Carmelo ain't never got the second round with this team.
That's true. What I'll say is the hype around the team wasn't as big until they got Melo, because they had Melo and Martin Stoudemire. So
yeah, they
more
had
so
a superstar.
But yeah, they were definitely good last year. They just ran into Miami Heat.
But so my thing is this: I agree that their ceiling is a conference finals. If I'm the New York Knicks, I feel like I would walk into the playoffs like we could beat any of these dudes except for the Celtics. So I look at it. I feel like they can beat anybody in the East except for the Celtics. With all the pots and pans and water running, you know what I mean? But
no, that's them in the doghouse. If you want to be in the doghouse, that's what life is like in the doghouse.
You know, somebody ain't paid for their bill. All right, I gotta wash them dishes.
Hey,
But
hey, Teddy, Jovan getting some water. You said he's not supposed to, but I guess they.
all right. So they got some dogs on their team. You know, you got Josh Hart, you got DiVincenzo, who has been a huge pickup for them. You got OG. Jalen Brunson's a dog. Julius Randle. So the good thing about this team is they won't rely highly on Julius Randle offensive production to get them over the hump because Jalen Brunson has taken this level to another new level. Jalen Brunson's playoff run last year was really good against the Cavaliers. He was okay. He was just him, but against the Miami Heat, he took it to a new level. So I like right now he's averaging 27 a game. I wouldn't be surprised if Jalen Brunson is averaging 30 a game in the playoffs. I could see him upping his scoring in the playoffs. So Julius Randle is like not say as an afterthought, but he's not going to be relied on as much. And yeah, I like the Knicks. You know they're gonna play rough with Thibodeau as a head coach. Like I said, and I look at the standings, the only team I look at and say they're not beating is the Celtics. I think they could beat anybody else in the East. So I would say Eastern Conference Finals.
Me and J-Mo here with that comment because I was gonna say out of all the players you named, also adding Bogdanovich is a big move too. I remember when he was with the Wizards. I remember when he was with the Pistons. Like he just and the Pacers. Like he just known to hit a three when you need it, and he can get hot. Probably give you a quick 15 points. So that's something that the Knicks need also.
And he could score all with the ball in his hands, and he's an underrated passer too. Bogdanovich, right? And he's a great shooter. So Alec Burke too is a shooter. I mean a scorer.
Alec Burke is a really good defender too.
They got some, yeah, man.
Alec Burke, used to play for Utah Jazz, and he was a really good defender with them. So they got enough on their team, and you can't forget about OG Anunoby. I mean, we know what he's been doing since he got there. So
yeah, man, OG's a huge go.
I think the biggest question is Randall. What is he going to do in the playoffs? Is he going to step up, or is he going to choke like he did last year? I think that's the only thing.
But even if he do choke, that's fine. You know what I mean? Like Thibodeau gonna have to put his big boy pants on and say, "Hey, man, we got sit him, man. You got OG, and you can put
Tibbs run his stars to the ground. He did that when he was in Chicago with Derrick Rose.
But he run his stars to the ground to the point where like he played too many minutes. It wasn't like I'm gonna play you no matter how your performance is. It's more so like, oh, like why are they in the game so much? You know. So like, come on, Derrick Rose up by 30. Why is he in the game still? Like, the heck?
Yeah, that's true. That is true.
The hell was stupid. But yeah, I like the Knicks team. I like they rough. They're a playoff basketball team, you know, and they got better. So let's get it.
I know a few of them players are happy they did make those trades, so they could be like I said there. Whew, maybe Thibodeau can let us rest a little bit, man. Maybe give us 3 minutes instead of the 1 minute, on the bench that he would give his players. But if you want to hear us talk more about who's gonna drop 30 or who's gonna drop 40 in these playoffs, you gotta join the chats. Dave, tell us about them chats, man.
Man, so we have chats on Instagram. These chats, you pretty much get all the latest news here first. No matter what it is, no matter what team it is, no matter what sport, I'm pretty much giving you all the news. And if it's not me, for other personal or business reasons, you got